Like, I mean, it's just like like, you don't even have to attribute it to who said it, but like, I remember I was like talking about, I wonder how many lives of firemen saves or whatever, hundreds or thousands, and you're like, they don't think about the ones they saved. They think about the ones they couldn't save. Like
Yeah.
that's like a line from a movie. I mean, I was just thinking about that all day. I'm like, yeah, but it's applicable to a lot of things. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
you don't necessarily think about the races you won. Like, you're thinking about those ones where you dropped the
And the one
the
that I got DQ'd from and you tattled on me.
yeah. Wait, which one? Oh, I mean, I wasn't gonna let that kid not win the race. But you think about that one? You probably do, I guess.
No, well, I wouldn't call it. I mean, that doesn't bug me as much because that's just a normal road race, and I try to treat it more like a workout. But no, I mean, yeah, I do think about my failures more often, I think. But obviously, you gotta remember the good ones. Got to remember the good ones. It's not like they all the time remember their failures. You got to remember the successes. But yeah, failures tend to dwell on you and tends to creep in your mind.
Well, especially if you think like what you should have done differently.
Yeah.
Sometimes your failure, as long as it's like, well, I did everything I could. I don't know. My hamstring just like blew out.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe if you had gone a little more conservative, but I mean, I wouldn't even think that way, like about something. I mean, maybe I would think about it in a race where you went out way too fast. Like, I should not have went out too fast. That was too fast. That was not good. Or yeah, stuff like that. Or I should not have done that the night before. But yeah, it was the interesting thought. I was thinking of this morning when I was brushing my teeth. I was like, yeah, it's like you don't think about the ones that you think about the ones that you didn't save,
Yeah.
that you couldn't. Yeah, it's almost like haunting you in a way.
Mm.
And that's if there's something it inspires you to like, to make far and fewer of those.
Yeah.
Probably in the military, they think that way too.
Oh yeah. I mean,
They're not
especially
like,
for responder jobs, the ones that that especially calls. Like my brother's run into calls where he's just, it hits him more. Certain calls hits him more when, especially if they don't prevail. But yeah, I mean,
yeah, cops too. Yeah, yeah.
it's a mentally tough, those are mentally tough jobs, especially if like, run into like life or death situations like that. And then, something doesn't go their way. It doesn't matter how much success you had, those tend to creep in your mind larger than your successes. So
Yeah, there was a movie I just watched like that. It was like about a 911 operator. I want to say it was Casey Affleck that was the main guy. Have
wait,
you heard
what movie
of
was it?
I don't know.
There was a movie I watched recently. And my brother said they actually looked like they did their research. It's called Code 3. And it stars that guy from The Office, Ren Wilson, and then Lil Rel. It was like a paramedic movie.
Code 3, huh?
What was it called? Is it Ambulance or is it called Ambulance?
Code 3?
Code
I don't
3,
know.
yeah, that one, that was a good one. But kind of like it was a comedy, but it was pretty twisted. But I think in terms of like what goes on in that job, and my brother says, yeah, that happens. Yeah, that happens. And yeah, that's true. And it's just like, oh God, really? Like there was a scene where they went to this nursing home and the nurse and this like person that worked there saying this woman's just died. She was fine like 5 minutes ago, and now all of a sudden she's not breathing. And then they were like looking at her body, like, you said she was dead for like not that long. And they move his arm. Look how stiff her arm is. Look at that. Like, are you gonna do it? She's dead. She's been dead for hours. And then it's pretty much they were trying to cover up like they weren't paying attention to her. And
Because there
then
was rigor
Ken's like,
mortis had set in.
yeah, she was already in rigor mortis. And so what some people will do is they'll call saying this death happened not too long ago, but they think a paramedic's not going to tell if someone's been in rigor mortis for that long.
You're saying this actually
They're trying
happened
to
to someone you
bullshit that they trying to cover their asses saying, oh, she's been dead for 5 minutes, thinking like, oh, they'll get away with it because of not paying attention to this person. And then they just
Right.
look, this person's not been dead for a few minutes. She's just basically trying to cover her ass. She's stiff. She's been dead